Episode 4. I feel like this show is back on track for me. Season 3 was episode 3 was a bit of a bump last week. If you remember, I kind of dunked on it for some of the weird special effects, like a lack of tension. And it felt very teenage for a show that had already run itself adult in terms of like the scares, the gore, and things like that. This episode for sure feels closer to episodes 1 and 2 for me. So it's definitely, I was pleased to see that we went back to a more personal horror, especially the bits with Mike and his father on the river. That was a great scene. And then, of course, with this, what do I call Mike? I'm still, see,
that's Mike is Will's son. Yep. In the future.
Dad and son on the river. All right. That was a great scene because it was personal. He saw his father burnt up and being like, you're going to burn too, yada, yada. That was gripping. Right. And then poor Lily, this girl's been through the effing ringer for this entire show. She going to be in a jail cell next to this other dude real quick.
Yep.
Lauren, hey, you still here? Thank you. Unlike the ghost, he got evidence on his arms. Dude, that's what I'm saying. But like, it's terrifying just to see that in the brief glimpse that we got. And then they subtly introduced the red balloon. And I'm like, here we go. Like, all right, finally. Seeing some shit.
So the brief of this story, of this episode, is the kids are starting to understand what they're up against, but not exactly what they're up against. Okay. And they're also the secret of what's keeping Mr. Pennywise in that area is revealed. And there's a little twist in that, which I want to reveal that a lot of people didn't pick up on.
Oh, that should be fun. That should be fun. I think you're right. This is a good informational episode. They do some extended flashbacky stuff.
Yep.
They do it in a semi-interesting way. Mm-hmm. Like it's hey, I need you to repeat this story for me so I know you got it. And then like the little boy tells his aunt the story. Pape says bruise on his arm is what they should have had from the ghouls in the cemetery. Right. But that's exactly what Lauren was just saying. Like, at what point is that consistency not maintained that people begin to point that out and be annoyed by it? I was annoyed by that already. Like, we saw them grab at these kids. If it's the same monster doing it, the effect should have been the same, like you said. This dude falling off his bike and taking a picture of a clown in a graveyard at night also should have been a bit more trip-worthy alarm to the police than it was, in my opinion. But you guys are right. These kids have physical evidence that weird shit happened.
Yep.
You know? And the guy that saw the weird shit happen to his kid, or who was there for the after effects, is like a decorated military hero. That's the guy you listen to.
The first adult to actually believe them in the show.
I think this episode's definitely a bit of a sea change. It's like a change of the tide, turn of the tide. Because
as it should, as it's episode 4.
It's episode 4. There's no way he doesn't back his kid. There's no way we get that stereotypical scene now where they're like, all right, go to your room and stop saying such foolishness, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, he's going to protect his kid. He's that kind of dad. That's going to happen now, you know? But they also did some cool stuff with his mom in this episode, right? We get a lot more character development from her, where she's going to come to the aid of the guy that they've got in the jail cell for the murder of the kids, because she's a bit of an activist. She's a freedom rider from down south. She's up north now looking for how to further the cause. And I like her character in this. Now he's got mom and dad now. Exactly, Lauren. Exactly. Which is not the norm for these kind of things. Usually the adults don't believe until the bitter end, and one of them's got to die themselves.
He was telling the truth the whole
time. Exactly. But his mom wants to be involved legally with what's the guy's name they locked up? I'm terrible with names.
It's Ronnie's dad. I don't remember his name. It's Ronnie's dad.
And she puts the police on notice. Like, listen, I make a phone call. I get a JFK, an MLK, a RFK, and all kinds of Ks down here that you don't want nothing to do with. But I like her character because I feel like in other shows,
need to make a phone call.
They would have written her to be so over the top, obnoxious, animated, stereotypical, hood, ghetto, all kinds. How they wrote her was perfect. She's restrained, classy,
educated,
educated. Like, yes, this is how you do this scene without bashing me over the head. You know, this is how. You know what I mean? That's how it's done. What did you think of her development here? Hank Rogen. Thank you, Hank. I knew it was a cool name. Hank's a cool name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oracle. What did you think of all her bits inserting into the social side of this case? Because now she's getting closer to another mystery that she unfolds, and I want to talk about that too, real quick.
You did see that she was itching at the bits. Like, she feels uncomfortable already because of how nice everybody is. You could tell that she's not used to this. Coming from the South, it was a little unsettling for some people to see white people and African Americans side by side and stuff. But there was still racist white people in the North. They just,
of course,
they hit it a little bit better, I would say. And that's what she was waiting for. She kept waiting for that. And then that's when she started, she toned on this because it was like, so there was a hint that he could have done it, but you have him locked up because he's a colored man.
Right. Now, my only concern with this because this looks like a deviation from the main story so far, is they have to be able to tie this back into what the kids are going through, or the story with the Native Americans, or like what if it's just a side jaunt to do the MLK thing, it's gonna just drag the story to a halt. So I want to see where this goes, because they reveal that he was out, not where he said he was, so the alibi fell through. Not only was he not where he says he was, but he was with a white woman, a married white woman. I'm guessing it was the chief of police's wife.
Yeah, I guessed that right off the bat. As soon as he was like, so they saw you out walking. Where are you coming from? I'm like, oh, he was with a white woman.
Yeah,
that's why he didn't say anything, because one, it would get her killed.
Wife,
no, I did not say the chief's wives. I just said a white woman. I didn't guess the married part either.
It's Bowers, who we know. It would make sense, because think about that Bowers family line as it comes down. Like, obviously that dude's son grows up to be a massive piece of shit, and it would stand to reason all that hatefulness comes from somewhere. That's what I'm saying, dude. Pape, I think that's where they're going with this. I think that's where they're going. But and even if they do, it still has to somehow tie back to the main story thrust. It can't just be that she's an activist doing activist shit, because so far everything else is wrapping into the kids' story. Everything with the military, everything with the Native Americans, and what the kids going through themselves all wraps back to the monster in the West Woods that Kingsley's about to tell us about. That's now been cordoned off by the Native American tribes, who, in a bit of Hulu prey levels of idiocy with the all-female war party nonsense, broke part of the meteor that had contained the monster and set it up like a protective barrier. King, what did you notice about that I did not?
So it wasn't the protective ring. It was more of the whole story itself. So what they did is they caught these two Native American boys watching the military and trying to figure out what they're doing. And they pretty much know what they're doing.
Of course.
That
they know what's out there. Right.
Yeah, they're looking for it. I would just call it.
What?
It.
What?
Yep. Exactly. What?
Too easy.
What?
Anyway.
So they call on their good friend Airman Halloran to get into one of these kids' heads to figure out. Yep.
Dude, can we talk about Halloran's weird, creepy facial expressions that he uses, not only during the face touching scene, but when he actually gets in the kid's mind and in the memory? That weird Pennywise grin that he laid on, where he's like,
"That's
you
the part."
me.
That part right there.
Yep.
That was actually Pennywise asking for it, so he can be released, so he can leave Derry, because we already proved earlier in episode 3 that Pennywise can talk to him when he's in the Shining. So that was actually Pennywise taking over his projection.
That grin was creep.
Yep.
Yeah. Good call, dude. I didn't put those two pieces together, but it makes perfect that the expression was an obvious piece of strong visual that something was weird. Because so far Halloran's just been a dude. He's just been a guy with the shine. He's just got some talents, but he's a normal guy. He gets afraid. He understands his place in all this. When Hanlon goes to visit him, and he's like, dude, that shit's above my pay grade. Dude, just fucking don't ask me any questions. We're just out here hanging out. You want to come in and help? And dude grabs his arm. And for a change, when Halloran stares at him, Hanlon backs off.
Yeah.
Because it was the other way around in that first exchange where Mike's obviously Hanlon, the airman, right? He's the badass. He's the military guy, the man without fear. He's Daredevil.
Yeah.
Not in that scene. When Halloran looked at him holding his arm, dude let him go real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But again, it's because he's understanding there's some weird shit out there in the world now, which is going to be cool. Oh, dude, big toothy grin. Huge, dude. It was huge.
Yeah.
Great bit of imagery there.
That was my my little Easter egg I saw there, because he didn't even sound like himself talking.
Nope.
And like if they're
jokey, too happy.
Yeah,
it's too weird.
Yeah, and if they're trying to locate him to turn him into a weapon,
yep.
they don't need to know where the pillars are.
Right.
Because they know that the pillars are all outside of Derry.
Right. Around that particular
because the East Forest is
whatever. East Forest, whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is the township of Derry now. So if I'm there looking for something, I don't need to know what's holding it in. I don't need to know where the cage is. I'm looking for the dog. I'm looking for the dog in the fight. And so that part is what really got me thinking, is like, why is he worrying about the pillars of smoke? Because that would have nothing to do with actually locating it itself.
True. What?
Exactly.
I'm done with that one. That one's not as much fun as you're not a fan of the franchise. Again, a solid addition to the story via the adult military segment. You know, it hasn't all been, we're just going to go up in the helicopter and search around with Halloran. That'd have been really boring if it was just a continual search of things. These characters are given an opportunity to interact, develop. I feel like at some point, one of Halloran's guys is going to be used against them in the same way that we just saw Marge used against Lily in the grotesque scene of this episode. And again, this episode coming after 3, again, makes me dislike 3 even more in retrospect, because the effects of that girl's eyes, which everybody's using in their thumbnails as they show, because it's that disgusting, that horrific, that level of body horror is fucking perfect for exactly this. I feel like sooner or later, Pennywise is going to get a hold of one of his crew, one of Halloran's crew, to do something out there at that little clubhouse on that level. We're going to get, now they know the shit. Now they all know the shit's going on. Now it's for real. We're not just getting our chains pulled. It's not just we're looking for something. We don't know what it is, because we already know the general knows, because he said to his second in command, well, the cycle's almost over if we don't find this shit now.
Yeah, he knows like that it only feeds for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then it goes into hibernation for 27 years.
27 years, right? So the military already knows more than they're obviously letting trickle down to even the guys that are involved in the op. We get that.
That's right. You treat people like mushrooms.
I'm saying,
keep them in the dark and feed them shit.
Exactly. So far, all the show is congealing well. Yeah. The wrap up scene, like I said, the concern is that everything with the airman's wife goes nowhere. That was Halloran's grandmother. Because in the previous episode, when he was going into the when he was doing his search thing, he saw grandma in the deadlights. He said grandma, and the ghost kind of talked back to him, but he said grandma. He did not say it in this episode, so that's an easy miss if you didn't hear that in episode 3. So yeah, I hope they work the airman's wife angle in defending the guy arrested in better. Lily is up against it now, because this last scene isn't just body horror, dude. This is like, this chick's getting locked up. Tell me about this last scene. Walk me through the whole bit if you don't mind.
So the whole thing was set up earlier where she asked, like, I miss you. Let's have lunch together. Now we're talking about Big Marge here. We're talking about Big Marge, who I believe that Big Marge becomes Angry Marge in The Office, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And she becomes like a janitor. So
yeah. Okay. She'd be a one-eyed janitor going forward, though.
But
anyway,
they're at lunch and they're having some conversation, and like you see that Marge is looking around at her Patty Cake friends, and they're like laughing. There's always the mean girls. They're in every school. We even had them. So.
They're all fat now. Facts.
Anyway. So they had this guy come over and like give her a look, and like so they were setting her up to go talk to this guy, and then he was going to embarrass her in front of.
They're going to give her the Carrie treatment.
Yeah,
for sure.
But they go to the bathroom so she could freshen up, and then it looks like Marge is about to come clean on it because of, she was Lily's friend, like her only friend there for a while, and now like she's trying to get in with the in crowd, but she started having second thoughts. We'll say that. But all of a sudden her eyes start to hurt, and then she gets beer goggles. Like literally her eyes come popping out of her head like a Wile E. Coyote.
Like a
and
snail from the
stayed there.
foreshadowed video from the classroom. Because remember, they foreshadowed that in the science class when they were watching the video on how that happens.
Yeah.
The snails. So they kind of set you up. But anyway.
But then when she's walking, she has walleye vision. She's just like, her eyes hurt and she's just trying to get rid of them. So of course she goes to the shop class. And it gets grotesque with a bandsaw and a little bit of a chisel. And then
Chisel first.
Yep. Starts to make it bleed. And then she goes to the bandsaw. And it looked like she was going to slip and go through the bandsaw.
Yes.
But
that's
no.
what I thought was going to happen.
But that did not happen. She cuts off her extended eyes and blood just gushing down. Then it looks like she's going back with the chisel. Lily gets on top of her, holds her down, and takes the chisel away from her so she wouldn't. And then everybody comes in and she's like perched over her with the chisel, like she did that to her.
Yep. Now, clearly, this does not look good for Lily, right?
No, especially someone who's been to the mental institution twice.
Once as recently as 2 days ago.
Yep.
All right. You get that? Spent the weekend there 2 days ago. My heart goes out to this poor girl, right? Because this chick with the bug eyes ran down like 3 hallways out of a bathroom, screaming at the top of her lungs, and there's not a grown-up to be seen anywhere. No grown-up. Right? Nowhere. I don't even think there were grown-ups when these 30 school kids rolled up into the shop room to watch the massacre happen or the aftermath.
No.
I'm like, all right, that seems kind of weird.
So just kids.
So Lily's boned. My question here, right, is have we seen Pennywise physically impact somebody that he didn't feed on? Like, has he used anybody as a weapon, like a cat's paw at this point? Like, has he used anybody as an option to torture this other girl? Because remember, the whole point of that, the setup to that scene previous, was she stole sedatives from her mother because the kids figured out maybe this thing's trying to make us afraid. So if we're not afraid, it can't hurt us. It can't make us tastier, right? But then this dipshit drops her Ativan or whatever it was in the toy. It's probably for 1960. I can't think of what
it was. A Quaalude.
Is that what it was?
It was probably a Quaalude, right? Based on the time frame and what she said it does. It's probably a Quaalude.
Makes all my troubles go. Yeah, probably. But she drops it in the toilet. To her credit, kinda, she's gonna go in after it, I guess, because she pulls the sleeve up like she's gonna go.
She did go in and she pulls something out too.
Did she pull it out?
Yeah,
I might have already take it. It could have been Valium too. Papes point out. That's a good point. I was trying to think of an old benzo.
Was Prince Valium available in the 1960s?
He was tired. Anyway, merchandising. But yeah, I couldn't remember if Pennywise had done that because he impacted Marge to make this whole thing happen. But I don't remember that happening to Lily. Usually it's been I use weird imagery from your dreams. I figured maybe he made Lily hallucinate that, but then literally 40 people saw that girl on the floor covered in blood with no eyes. Like, that shit happened. That's not in her head. That shit happened.
Once again, this isn't the real Big Marge. This is the construct of Pennywise. Because you saw her give her the side eye when she was up there with that, and after all the people, and she gave that little side eye like she knew what was going on.
Was that side eye, or was that I have no eyes and I'm just down? I have to go
back. You could see her eyes again when she's on top of her. You just see her normal eyes again.
All right, I'll have to go back to instant replay on that.
I'm telling you, it's going to be revealed.
You called Marge. You did. You called Construct because we even said we did the Stranger Things connection. Like, is real Marge dead and stuffed in a locker somewhere already?
Yep.
I don't know.
Already floating.
Already floating. Dude, they all float down here. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes with that. But Lily's going to start episode 5 at Juniper Hills, whatever the fuck it's called. She's done.
No, she's going to be in the jail cell next to Hank.
Oh, no. I think we're blowing right past that.
Going straight to Shawshank?
She goes straight to Shawshank, dude. Women's wing, 100%. But dude, I'm glad this episode, for me anyway, this episode totally worked. It's back on episode 1 and 2 track. It's a grown-up show. It didn't play like the Goonies. It didn't play like E.T. The kids all got interesting shit to do. They're figuring stuff out. The grown-ups are figuring stuff out. The story expanded with some of the Native American flashback in kind of a woke adjacent way where literally everybody doing anything important there was a woman, which is just weird. Like, it seems They went out of their way to write it that way, that like it was the priestess's daughter who took all of her friends who are all girls on the war party to hunt the clown. I'm like, no, no, I'm sorry that you're going out of your way to do that shit. I don't like that. But that doesn't hold anything up in this show because it's a terror horror based show. And when they get to that stuff, it's been great. And it was great in this episode. So this is a solid episode for me.
When they do it, they don't do it at the cost of a man either.
Right.
Like it wasn't the stupid guys or the stupid chief or anything like that.
It's adjacent to just because the fact that it's an all-female hunting party thing. So I can't get past the impulse to at least have that on my radar as like something to watch for going forward. And I hate feeling like that. And the show hadn't done that yet. You know what I mean? So it's just on a front burner now. But it didn't in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm already saying, it was better than episode 3, even though it had that in it. You know what I mean? Can't hate it. What did you think overall? Give me the overall so we can get out here and do the next show.
No, I think it was a good episode overall. I think it's going to, it's that point in the story where you needed something to really happen to push it forward because we're down to the final 4 episodes of this season. Everything is going to get wrapped up in this season. So I do believe there will be, we already know the next season is 27 years before this. So yeah, everything's going to get wrapped up in this season, but they're not going to get Pennywise because we know he's around 27 years later.
True. Which is fine for me. The show wasn't ever meant to have a happy ending.
No.
That's how it's going to go.
Because we all float down here.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. I'm happy.